Hi everyone, this is your Legends Girl, OG Star Wars, and I thought I would just take a break from everyday life and, talk about this breaking news about John Boyega and having him tell it all about his experience behind The Last Jedi, or basically with Disney Lucasfilm in the filming of the sequel trilogy. And we already know that Mark Hamill had shared his experience and his doubt and dislike of how they portrayed his character, Luke Skywalker. So, Mark Hamill was very vocal about this. And when fans addressed this, there was a backlash, and many people really tore down the people who were speaking up against this and siding with Mark and calling out the atrocity of Luke Skywalker and the character arc that was given during the sequel trilogy. So now, when you take a deeper look into the history of Disney Lucasfilm and with Kathleen Kennedy's interviews about wanting diversity, wanting the forces female, wanting to, give people of color, the POCs, which is, the politically correct term, are people who are, Black, Asian, possibly Native American, any ethnicity, a chance to be a leading character and have a bigger role and show them off on screen that they can include human diversity. But the thing is that when George Lucas was still owner of his company, that this what he invented, he showed what diversity not only in the human race, but he showed diversity within the species that he himself, along with the other creatives that were alongside working for him, brought to the universe. And so we have species that possibly none of us could think about, all put in the Star Wars lore. So George went beyond just the human diversity, and he went into alien and species diversity within the lore. And I thought that was very creative. And to see and hear since acquisition of Star Wars by Disney that George and his company never included diversity in the franchise, and even with gender, like the LGBTQ, which I find they have no understanding knowledge of the extent of what George did with his company and the writers and the authors that his company hired to expand on the movies, which included many diversity even in gender roles, I guess you can say. And so I find their take on this, I guess, a bit disturbing. And so now we have Boyega, and he's been saying, revealing things here and there about, Disney, including in like, I really don't need you guys anymore in a sense. And so we have Boyega here who's, opens up now further. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is an article, a blog from Ichibaka. Disney Star Wars is dumb is the website. And he breaks everything out. The interview you can find on GQ, the Britain GQ. And what he does is that he takes out everything that pertains to Star Wars in that interview and puts it in the article, because there's so much that Boyega expounds on in that interview that he did with GQ. And so he just dissects it and puts everything into this article that pertains to Star Wars that Boyega speaks about. So let's look further into this. Recently, John Boyega sat down with GQ magazine and made a following statements, which may provide us with weeks of glorious shadow fraud. I cannot say that. Sorry about that. Other directors agreed. And in 2014, he found himself brought into the Star Wars fold by J.J. Abrams. Cue his reveal as a conflicted stormtrooper once known as FN 2187, an absurd attempted boycott, the fourth highest grossing film of the time, and literally the millions that enabled Boyega to surprise his parents with their own brand new house 3 years ago. And that's amazing. He what a great way to thank your parents for raising someone and giving them determination to step up and beyond of who he is and explore, you know, himself and what he wants to do, his dreams and goals. That's a great gift. And I praise him for that, for doing that for his parents. That's a huge thank you gift. And that's such a beautiful appreciation. Yet again, this is another instance when Boyega seems keen to revise the public record on how something really played out, whereas previously he responded to the flagrantly racist commentary that greeted his casting in The Force Awakens with bullishness. Get used to it, as his since deleted Instagram response posted had it. Now he is keen to discuss the lasting psychic wounds that an ordeal like this leaves. So he expands a little bit further on, who he is and what he went through as, a Black man casted in Star Wars or in film today. And when you become an actor, no matter what your skin color is or where you come from or your gender, you're gonna have to have thick skin. That's gonna, that's a thing, because not everybody's gonna like you as an actor, maybe, or may not like your character, maybe a combination of both. Maybe you will have fans that like both, so there's gonna be a big diverse of, being liked for who you are, but not your character, vice versa. So there's gonna be a lot of that. And, when you're in such a profession where you put yourself out in, the light as an actor, actress, or whatever, you need to have that thick skin. I'm the only cast member who had their own unique experience of that franchise based on their race. I think, Callie Marie Trans as well. And when you look at both of their characters, they're stereotyped. They're very much stereotyped to their race. And I thought that was disgusting myself as a native, like a Black man who's a janitor, and can't do anything, is bumbling around, a fool. And then we have Kelly Marion Chadams, who's a nerd, just like what Rian Johnson said, he wanted to make her a nerd, someone that he would want to hang around with and stuff. He says, holding my gaze, let's just leave it like that. It makes you agree with the process like that. It makes you much more militant. It changes you because you realize, I got given this opportunity, but I'm in an industry that wasn't even ready for me. Nobody else in the cast had people saying they were going to boycott the movie because they were in it. Nobody else had the uproar and death threats sent to their Instagram DMs and social media saying, Black this and Black that, and you shouldn't be a stormtrooper. Nobody else had that experience, but yet people are surprised that I'm this way. That's my frustration. And so, we seen him once, Black Lives Matter took off again, and he went out and, to the rally there where he lives at in the UK. And he was handed the mic and he said his speech, what he needed to say, and so ever since then too, he's been speaking up, and I'm pretty sure he's also been pretty proactive for his people as well. So it's disheartening to, even hear him say that, people stereotyped him and, maybe have said racist comments to him. And that's the thing. There is, bad people in all shades, gender, color, or whatever you want to call it. There's going to be bad people who do not like you for how you look, your skin color or whatever. And, but there's also going to be plenty more people who will like you. And even if they don't like your character, or even if they do, whatever, they're going to be more gracious. And sometimes that few bad vocal voices really make, a loud presence. And that's what negativity does. It's louder than anything positive because it's easier to fall into the negativity. Just like in Star Wars, the dark side is the easy path, right? And so this is exactly what, what George was going at, the dark side, or being negative, or, all that, those bad attributes are much more easier to do and obtain and stuff, rather than, trying to reach out with compassion and love and understanding and listening. That's a lot harder because it's easier to say shit. It's harder to sit back with compassion and listen. You have two ears, and one mouth for a reason. Listen twice as much as you talk. then maybe you will understand the person, what they're about, maybe their struggles, maybe you'll find a common ground. And I think that's what we're lacking here today. He has made peace with a lot of this now. Following the intense 2017 period, he attended therapy to deal with some horrible personal traits such as anger, but he lets his point settle as our mocktails melt in minted slush on the low table between us. All right, and the thing is, and I do preach, or not preach, I am an advocate for healing from historical trauma, for my own people. You can't hold on to the past and still make, a good future for yourself. You need to allow yourself to heal so that you can, see things clearly, so you can move forward clearly, so you can have that space and room to help, your own family, people, or whatever, understand and create a stronger foundation of even getting, information out there and educating the masses on what had happened in the past versus what is going on now. And like they say, you can't lead and help other people if you can't take care of yourself first. And that's what, John Boyega is doing right now. And that's what a part of healing from historical trauma, or any kind of trauma, or any kind of negativity, is that you need to heal from it first before you start helping others. And I think that's what his approach was here. So I'm not going to get too much into a political view, or, like that kind of nuance, I guess, but that's how I see that. As readers of this blog know, the Black Stormtrooper controversy was purely imaginary. Settled science confirm this, but he has some criticism of Disney as well. In the continued afterglow of that first franchise defibrillating Star Wars film, he continued to notice a stylist he hired when he first started doing press, cringing at a certain clothes I wanted to go for. The hairdresser who had no experience of working with hair like his, but still had the guts to pretend. And he decided that he could no longer grin and bear it like a grateful competition winner. During the press of The Force Awakens, I went along with it, he notes. And obviously at the time I was very genuinely happy to be a part of it, but my dad always tells me one thing: don't overplay with respect. You can pay respect, but sometimes you'll be overplaying and sell yourself short. Wow, that's very interesting. So here you go. Here is and this goes into Disney Lucasfilm, wanting diversity, wanting to, be on the forefront of diversity and stuff. And yet they still take him out. Where is he? I forget. Are you right here? He's right here. So this is the American poster. And this is the one in China, because, China don't like Black people. And so they shrunk him down for marketing rather than keeping him here. And, so they didn't stand their grounds for diversity. They went ahead and, made his likeness, very invisible on the poster. It's so difficult to maneuver, he said, exhaling deeply, visibly collaborating the level of professional diplomacy to display. You get yourself involved in projects, and you're not necessarily going to like everything. But what I would say to Disney is, do not bring out Black characters, a Black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good. I'll say this straight up. He is talking about himself here, about the character of Finn, the former stormtrooper who wielded a lightsaber in the first film before being somewhat nudged to the periphery. I can't even talk. Okay. Okay. But he is also talking about other people of color in the cast: Naomi Aki, Kelly Matrons, and even Oscar Isaac, a brother from Guatemala who he feels suffered the same treatment. He has acknowledged that some people will say he's crazy or making it up, but The reordered character hierarchy of the Last Jedi was particularly hard to take. And so he goes on with this, and here he is in the comic book as a janitor. Like I said, it's very much stereotyped, and so there's that evidence, that proof. Like, you guys know what to do with Disney, Daisy Ridley. You know what to do with Adam Driver. He says you knew what to do with those other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Trans, when it came to John Boyega, you know, fuck all. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was a great experience. Nah, nah, nah. I'll take that deal when it's great. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience. They have all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest, Daisy knows this, Adam knows this, everybody knows this, and I'm not exposing anything. So basically, he's telling it all. He's saying that, you know, they gave it all to, you know, Adam, Daisy, and even though they promised, you know, diversity, and that they're casting these people and they marketed them, he realized that he was just a token person for their marketing tools. That's all it was, and that's how he feels. And I believe he has every right to feel how he does. I like to hear Rian Johnson explain the reorder character hierarchy of The Last Jedi. I also like to read legacy media that called critics of The Last Jedi racist, examine just exactly what all of this means. And maybe J.J. Abrams can talk about this the next time he promotes Black Lives Matter. Thanks to, thank you to, Ichibaka for, bringing this up and dissecting that article and pulling out all the Star Wars nuances that, Boyega talks about. And he is right. You know, Rian Johnson really switched up the character arc for Finn, and then JJ came in and still continued that instead of, of making him, giving him more character, more. More opportunity to expand on his character arc is what I'm trying to say. And it's frustrating, and a lot of us has noticed this. Even it's been spoken about. We were excited to see what was going to come of him as the defecting stormtrooper, who really seemed to change of heart and didn't want to be associated with an organization that is trying to take control of the galaxy once again, and murdering and trying to conquer people. He did not want that. And, him wielding the lightsaber, in the original lore, it is said that, if you Jedi's are the only ones that can operate lightsabers. And so that kind of hinted around like, oh, well, does he have some force ability going on? Is he a force sensitive? And so there was a lot set up for his arc in The Force Awakens to really been crushed. And it's not about the time that he was on the screen. It was more about how his character arc was handled and how they marketed him. And so I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this. Do you really think that Finn got shortchanged in the character arc? Do you think there could have been a lot more going on with his character? So again, let me know. And as always, may the force be with you.